The sixth round of the World Championship Grand Prix series saw the dominance of Gregor Huttu is back for the 2013 title chase. Gregor Huttu won the last race over at Sebring 2 weeks ago, making it back-to-back victories for the Finnish driver, and now has a huge lead in the championship heading into tonight's round. Huttu holding a solid 55-point lead over his arch rival Hugo Luis. With the Brazilian being on the cusp of falling behind more in the championship, he must not make a mistake tonight. So here we are for round 7 at Watkins Glen. Let's quickly chat about this fantastic circuit. Watkins Glen in the state of New York is one of the drivers' favourites. With its fast flowing corners and long straights, the racing is phenomenal. Tonight you will see probably the most passing of all the circuits we visit. So welcome to everyone watching the broadcast here on GlacierTV to round 7 of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series here at Watkins Glen. My name is Ben Rothberg. Unfortunately, Will Vincent is over in the United States and will not be commentating tonight. So alongside me in the commentary booth, I have Marius Gollenbeck and Paul Jenkins and Dan Blake. And on the cameras, it's Yoni Backman. So now sit back, enjoy a track guide by our own Will Vincent.
Watkins Glen International, set in upstate New York, is a track that measures 3.4 miles in its latest carnation. Now, this is a track which over the years has hosted Formula 1 races, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races, IndyCar races, Trans Am, Can-Am, Grand Am races, and also the famous 6 hours of the Glen. Now, the latter event really cemented the track's legacy as the home of road racing in North America, drawing tremendous crowds and bringing some of the greatest drivers in North America to do battle in a long, hard and endurous event. Now, this track might look simple on paper, but with so many elevation changes and fast, high-speed corners, you've really got to pay attention. As we take a look at the track, the start finish straight, you can't actually see turn number 1 until you're right actually on it. A 90-degree right-hander, famously called the 90. You want to use that curb on the inside, but be careful on that curb on the outside. Nice runoff area there, but don't straddle the car on the outside of the curb, otherwise you'll put yourself into big problems. Coming up the S's, turns 2 through 4. Got to hold your line nicely here. You'll see there's not a lot of runoff area here, especially in the final part of this. The Armco barrier is right there on the side of the track. Put a foot wrong, your race will be over. You'll now work yourself onto the back straightaway. This is where they added the inner loop in the early 1990s due to a number of incidents on this fast speed track before you come to what is now being named the outer loop. This is a fast right-hand corner. You want to hold it to the inside for the first portion and then pick your point, slam on the accelerator and then run that car wide to the outside. Then you'll come down into the chute. You don't want to brake too late here because the track tarmac changes, and if you go on that transition, then it's very easy to lock the car up and put yourself into the barriers. You now work down a short straightaway before you come down into toe corner. This is the slowest corner on the racetrack. It's 180-degree right-hander. You want to kind of keep that car in between that track seam there. Get yourself a good exit through here, and then you'll have a chance to pass as you work yourself down into heel corner. Another 90-degree right-hander here, and as I said, you have the chance to pull alongside drivers coming into here, but it's a tight corner, you've got to be careful. And then you'll work yourself down onto the old track once again for a 90-degree left-hander. Now, you're actually uphill here as you come into the corner. It's so easy to lose the car both on entry and on corner exit. 2 more corners of the racetrack left to go. The first one, another 90-degree-ish left-hander. Very fast is through here. Got to set yourself up nicely, however, for the final corner on the racetrack, where if you can get good speed through here, you can really line up to try and pass the car as you come back down past the start finish straight. This track is all about pure speed and adrenaline, and the cars are going to have to be set up well. The drivers are going to have to be in tune if they're going to get themselves around this racetrack for as many laps as they need to. I've been Will Vincent. Thanks for listening.
So if we just have a quick look of the championship standing, as we go into tonight's race. We saw in Sebring that Gregor Huttu had another victory over there in Sebring, and I'm going to bring Marius into this quickly. Hutu, is anyone going to be able to stop him?
Well, I wonder, and we're going to take a closer look at the qualifying standings just as soon as we've got the footage up, so just about 5 minutes until that. But I can tell you that much, he is only in 4th position today, but more about that in a couple of minutes. However, you said it, he is the leader of the championship, currently 55 points ahead of my 3D driver Hugo Lewis, his teammate Atzi Kirchhoff and Martin Kronke, so we've got 2 Redline drivers and 2 my 3D drivers in the top 4. And from Hutu in the pole position, literally, 55 points to Lewis, and then another 50 points to Atzi Kirchhoff. So it already shows after 6 weeks counted that it will be between Hutu and Lewis if they don't allow too much mistakes, and we haven't really seen them done any so far. Atzi Kirchhoff then in 3rd position and Martin Kronke in 4th, very close together, only 3 points separated, and even Jake Sturgis behind them, only 20 points apart, and that's not really that big of a gap. Reminder, 50 points for the winner today, 40 points for 2nd, and a 10-point gap basically is what Hugo Lewis needs to do today. He needs to take off 10 points of Gregor Hutu to close in the championship.
So I'm just going to bring Dan into this as well. Dan, I don't think you were here last week, but with Hugo Luis in 55 points behind Gregor, what do you think? Do you think he'll be able to catch him?
I think the retirement that Hugo had at Phillip Islands, well, he didn't have a retirement. He had a poor finish due to some car failure. I think that will make it very interesting. But also something I'd like to point out: the last couple of races, we've seen Max Delorco pull some rather spectacular strategy decisions, which have put the cat amongst the pigeons as such. So, be interesting to see if Delorco will be able to do similar today. You'll start the race from 17th position, Max Delorco. I think he'll be one to watch again.
Yeah, we saw that Max Delorco had a great race down at Phillip Island. He was on a 2-stop strategy, but he was up the front consistently and he had consistent pace. Do you reckon he would try a different strategy again tonight, Marius?
Well, it's going to be a difficult decision because Watkins Glen generally is a very smooth, a very short track, that's for sure. We're thinking about 1 minute 17, 1 minute 18 lap times here. So I think the majority of the drivers will be on a one-stop strategy because there's not really that much potential in a 2-stop. However, we've seen on Sebring, even with a 2-stop strategy, which has been kind of edgy, Gregor Hutu has been able to win the race, and he has been able to overcome these critical points of a 2-stop strategy, which are, you need to get out of pits without traffic, and basic fact, mathematical fact, you do one more pit stop, you have slightly more chance of getting caught up in traffic, and you cannot absolutely use this today because if you're caught up in traffic here, there's virtually no chance of overtaking.
Yeah, that's a great point you said there, especially here at Watkins Glen. You've got those really long straights. You're going to have to get in the draft of someone, especially if you've got heavy fuel and whatnot. Your car's going to be a lot slower in a straight line. Just quickly, before we start getting pictures live to you right now, we're going to have to give a shout out to Pablo Lopez from the Radicals. He's had a little bit of a bike accident yesterday and won't be able to participate in today's race. So big shout out to him and get well soon, mate. We can't wait to see you back in the series. But let's go to the tips. Marius, who do you think is going to win this race, mate?
You guys keep me asking this every time before the race, and I really can't tell. Well, since we're going to talk about the qualifying standings, and by the looks of that, I think Hugo Lewis has got a good shot of winning this today, but it looks like Atzi Kirchhoff and also Martin Kronke seem strong today, but still, my money would be on Hugo.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really strong, isn't he? But Dan, how about you, mate?
I think I'm going to go the same way as Marius. I think Hugo Lewis having the pole position has got a big advantage because the run down to turn 1 is downhill and we could see some accidents there, but also quite interesting to see what happens between Atzi Kirchhoff and Martin Kronke because in the championship Kirchhoff's only 3 points ahead of Kronke except the battle for 3rd and 4th, so they're quite close in pace, they're quite close in qualifying, so I think that's going to be something to watch as well as the race goes on.
Yeah, I do agree. It's going to be a fantastic race, and I can't wait to get it started. We do believe the session is up, so we'll try and get pictures from the track as soon as we can too. But just got to give a quick shout out to all the Australians that are listening today, and yeah, so those guys are staying up late, and it's good for them. But also another quick shout out, just quickly, is to Will Vincent over in the US, our main play-by-play commentator normally this week. I apologise on our behalf that he's not here. He does a really good job week in, week out, but it's unfortunate that he can't be here. But this race, it's going to be like every other race. I reckon it's just going to be full of anticipation and pit stops and strategy and everything like that. I think there's going to be one highlight out of this race, and it's going to be passing. I think passing is going to be the hardest thing that's going to be in this race, and it's just, this track is just such a hard circuit to get right, and you've got to get the exit right to the main straight, to down the inside, and hopefully it's just going to be a great race like every other race is. And I believe we've got the qualifying standings coming up for you as well now on screen.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that as soon as we've got them. However, you said it, there's going to be a difficult situation here passing. And we talk about that every race. It's gotten a little bit easier with the last couple of developments in the car as well as in the sim. So it's not really that hard. But we're talking about a track where literally everyone is on a very close setup. Like there's no big advantage to be gained or disadvantage to be had in the setup. So whatever you do, you're obviously going to have a very stable car, and a very stable car, especially in the high speed sections of the track. And you've got turns which are driven over 250 kilometers an hour, so you need to have a stable car there, and the more downforce you use, the less you're going to be able to overtake. But for now, we're going to take a look at the qualifying standings here, and starting with the pole sitter today from Brazil for My3D Gaming is Hugo Lewis, putting in a 1 minute 17.3, as well as the second guy in the first row, Atsi from Team Redline. So you see, it's been going for this the whole season long, Redline versus My3D, and it's going on like that in the second row. Martin Krönke as well from 3ID here, 1 minute 17.5, as well as Gregor Hütte in fourth. And just going to take a quick look there. And yes, by the looks of it, we have got a pro driver in the grid, and that's a good surprise here, because the grid has been fully stacked here. So Jörn Jens in fifth position here, putting out the best pro licensed position. We've had a fifth place from Antoine Igli on Sebring, so another great result by a pro licensed driver here. Completing the third row, Emil Spindler. He's been kind of having an up and down season, but seems to be finding his contention again. Martin Peterli in 7th, Ilke Harpala in 8th, Andre Böttcher in 9th, and the grid is once again completed. 5th row with Andre Böttcher from My3D and Redline Luke McLean.
I think it's going to be a different race here today. Normally we've seen Gregor and Hugo on the front row, but what does everyone think? Gregor is such a strong driver, and he's normally up the front, but is he going to struggle today with the traffic, Marius?
Well, I wonder. He's obviously going to have a good start, but I don't think he can make up 3 positions until the first turn, so it could be possible that Atsi or Gregor make up 1 position, but even that will be very hard today.
So going through the rest of the grid for you, P11 is Jake Sturgios, position 12, Udai Narumi. On the inside of him we've got Stefan Michaels, then Simon Catterall, Enzo Benito, Max DeLorco, Moga Filo, Daniel Lopez, and Flavio Barrazzoni in position 19, with Yoni Tormala rounding out your top 20.
So already the first drivers here, or first driver spectators here, coming from the Pro Series, Ricardo Castredo, favorite in the Grand Prix Series this season, already wishing the pro drivers good luck here. And yeah, by the looks of it, guys, Jörn Jens has found a really good pace here. He's been practicing all week long, and he's only 100th behind Gregor Hütte, and that just shows how close the qualifying is today. If you take out Hugo Lewis and Atsi Kirchhoff in first and second, you've got Martin Krönke with a 5.84 in third, and that's not even half a second separating him from positions outside of the top 20. So even with a slight mistake here, you're going to drop 5, 6, 7, up to 10 positions here. And thinking about drivers around the top 10, you just said that you started with Jake Sturgis, Udai Narumi, Stephen Michaels. These drivers are putting in 0.8, 0.7, 0.9 lap times. And I don't even want to say, but you miss a shift, you literally run in the limiter, that's going to cost you a position, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's just such a straight line track. I'm going to bring Dan back into this because he hasn't spoken just for a little while. But Dan, just with this grid, I believe it's so mixed up. We're normally seeing Gregor at the top, and Martin Krönke was on pole in Sebring, as everyone knew who watched the race. Hugo's back. It looks like he's back on form now with his pole position over Atsi Kirchhoff. Those Redline boys have always been strong and they've always worked together. But it's been the 4 people this year: Hugo, Atsi, Martin and Gregor. this year who have really done really well. But it's really weird that you see Max Delorco down in 16th position. Is it just the track, Dan, do you think, or is it just setup wise?
I think it's a bit of both really, because this track has seen, it's very, very close. As you said, we've got very close field, and you've got Jorn Jens doing well in 5th. Also, MR Spindal, Mighty Patella, you wouldn't probably usually see them as high up as they are in 6th and 7th. There's good performance for them. I think Luke McLean might be a bit disappointed as well with 10th position on the grid. But as we said, the grid is very spaced out. There's drivers, it's quite mixed up really. So, but with the track being good for overtaking, we may see the regular order come back. But I think we're in for some thrilling racing this afternoon.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be an absolute cracking race, as we've got under 2 minutes now before the cars start to grid up here at Watkins Glen. These guys are just trying their pit entries, just making sure their race setup's so correct, getting in the into the groove. Just going through the back end of the grid, guys. A lot of Patrico Tavara, 25th. Jeremy Boudaloop from Radicals in 27th. Like, just some of these guys I thought maybe should have been boosted up here just a little bit, but just looking at the warm-up lap, the warm-up times, which you can't really get really good time off, but Stefan Michael's currently at the top on a 1:20.133. Emil Spindal in 2nd and Flavio Barazzoni in 3rd position, only 0.3 off the pace.
Also, it's Stephen Michael's home race. He comes from near New York, so I think Stephen Michael's going to be keen to impress on home turf today.
So, the last couple of minutes here in the warm-up. We've got 10 minutes of warm-up, same strategy, same procedure every week, every 2 weeks rather, and then we've got a 56 lap race incoming. So at a rate of 1 minute 18, 1 minute 19 per lap, we're looking at one of the shortest races of the season, maybe even the shortest race here. And guys, it's literally flat out for 60 to 70% of the racetrack. You come around turn 1 at the start, and then it's all the way flat out uphill into the outer circle of the boot circuit. So it's nearly 30 seconds flat out up there. And do you think there's going to be any chance that a driver might get a shot at a slipstream out of turn 1?
I personally think they do. It's early in the race. Everyone wants track positions. That's what's keen in this race. It's critical, sorry. It's going to be absolutely critical to have that track position. You're going to have to be in the top of the in front of the people that you want to beat out of the pit lane. That's how it's going to work, and that's how this race is going to play out. It's going to be a cracking race.
I think that two of the main things in this race have been momentum and precision. Because if you lose your momentum, as Mario said earlier, you're going to lose a lot of time. But also, as you go into the corners, you've got to be very, very precise, because a little bit of oversteering can lose your time as well. So not only have you got to keep it consistent, but you've got to keep it really steady as well.
So, first row, Hugo Lewis at Kirchhoff, Martin Krönke, Gregor Hutto in second row, Jorn Jens, Emil Spindal in third, Pietri Lehapala, Böttcher McLean. That's your top 10 here. But the second place guy in the championship, number 2 Hugo Lewis in pole, number 1 Gregor Hutto only in 4th position here. And we've got a couple of great starters in the top 5. Krönke and Kirchhoff especially putting out absolutely amazing starts. And the majority of the drivers have already took their grip position here. We're only waiting about 5 to 6 seconds here until the lights will go on the iRacing.com gantry, and the cars will start to rev up here, as momentarily they are all moved in the grid. So they are awaiting the lights here as the engines rev up. And yes, we've got the lights, so it is 3 to 7 seconds now until we can go green, and the Watkins Glen Grand Prix is gone, and it is underway. And good start back to Kirchhoff there, good start as well from Hugo Lewis, and Gregor Hutto has an absolutely blasting start.
A great start, and there's contact between Hugo Lewis and Nancy Kirchhoff, and there's quite a couple of other cars off as well there.
Oh, and it looks like Martin Krönke and Hugo Lewis are out here in the first turn.
We have quite a big pileup going up the hill now. We've got also Jason Lovett, who is tumbling through the air. This is very unfortunate for these guys who are early in the race. Marcus Caton was also involved, it looks like. A lot of the guys went very slowly through it, but it looks like Yao Cordasso was also involved, but it's very, very disappointing for Hugo Lewis. It just looked like he got a bit too hot into turn 1, and he's just run a bit too deep.
So,
carried on racing though, so he's going to try and come to pits repairs, but I think as you said, his race is over, but Hugo Lewis is back running.
Martin Pietri started from 7th. He moved all the way up into second, and we've got a battle around. Andre Butcher is fighting against Luke McLean, so that's the only remaining MySpace versus Fredline battle left in the top 10 here, and it looks like Andre Butcher is trying to take the position back from McLean. They both started 9th and 10th, but now he's just losing the grip on the track, and McLean's passed.
That's a great move from Luke. He knows he has to get past Andre right now and early to get this track position. So at the end of lap 1, Luke just dived back into pit lane. I'm not sure if that was a jump start or something.
Well, he's had one on Sebring already, so...
Yeah, well, maybe I'll clear that up soon. So, end of lap 1, we have Gregor Hutu leading, your series champion. Martini Patella, Artsy Kirchhoff third. Emil Spindel, Bjorn Jens, your top 5. We still now have a move with Kirchhoff on Patella down into turn number 3, the carousel, and he gets it done. Great move for Kirchhoff there. 1-2 for Team Redline now.
A devastating start here for MySpace.
Yeah, it's just not one of the first rules in motorsport is you don't collide with your teammates, and that's I accidentally said it to Kirchhoff. My apologies for that, but it was very bad for Hugo Louis and for Martin Kroenke, because they're both running in the top 4 in the championship, and this will affect it, especially as Hugo Louis has already had a bad result, as we said before, at Phillip Island, so he's had his drop score, so this will really affect the championship.
That's a massive blow for. It's a massive blow for Hugo. As I mentioned in my intro there, he's just going to fall more off the championship now, and it's really unfortunate. But as we come up to complete lap number 2, it's still Gregor Hutu, your leader. Artsy Kirchhoff in second, Martini Patella in third, Emil Spindel 4th, Bjorn Jens in number 5th. Now, as we go on board with Moga Filo in position number 10,
yeah, he's got Enzo Benito in front of him as they come down the back straight.
Great start for Stefan Michaels in position 7. He's started way back in 13th position. He's been my mover and shaker for the start of the race, but it is still Gregor Hutu out in front. Is this the domination we were talking about earlier? I think so. Now I'm going to hand over to Marius. Marius, do you think that this race is now played out? Gregor's going to win, Artsy second?
The more I wish for some racing action, yeah, I think it's pretty much played out. I mean, they've got a 1-2 here, and Artsy is obviously going to kind of help his teammate Gregor Hutu here, so no one's obviously going to get past Artsy. They also seem to be the fast drivers here in this race, as Marty Pietterli does a mistake in 3rd position. He loses 1 position against his teammate Emil Spindel, so a good situation here as well on 3rd and 2nd for the 4-racer Adira team, and then it's MySpace drivers Bjorn Jens and Andre Butcher in 5 and 6. But to come back to your question, yeah, even with this mistake now they have got 2.5 seconds of a gap to P3 already, and I think there's going to be no question of one of these drivers will win this race.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty straightforward for Team Redline now. As we go down to position 14, Blake Townend, 4th position. We've got Jeremy Booterloop going on the inside now. Those two guys are 2 teammates, so they'll be working together, I would think, to maximise their gap to Timo Evenin, who's in 16th position. So Booterloop gets the job done on Blake Townend. So there's a big train going on behind Blake Townend at the moment.
You also talked about movers and shakers. We're talking about Max Gorkin before the race. He started 16th. He's now to 8th place already, so that's a very significant gain for Max Delorco, who's impressed in the last few rounds, and he's doing so again today.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Max just went straight past my ear, really. He's been flying this year. I'm not sure where he's come from. Maybe he just can't nail that number one position on the qualifying. But as we have Stefan Michaels on screen now as they come through the last corner, chasing down Andre Bouchard.
Yeah, Stephen Michaels is right behind Andre Bouchard. There's a collision behind. Was that I think is it Blake Townend?
It's Enzo Benito.
Enzo Benito. So something happened there in that battle we were talking about.
And we're going to take a look at what exactly happened in the replay but it looks like he's had a crash in the last turn, and
Stephen Michaels has a run. up into the carousel on Andre Bocha for 6th position and gets it done. Great move for Stephen Michaels.
Yeah, that puts him up into 6th position, and now the next car he's got to chase is our Pro Series driver, Jorn Jens. He's the only one who's qualified through, and he's running right in 5th position where he started.
Okay, we're going to take a look at what exactly happened to Enzo Bonito there, and we have the replay ready to play, and I think it was something in the last turn. I haven't taken a look at what exactly happened here, but Enzo Bonito finding himself in 10th position at the time. He's lost, sorry, 11th position. He's lost the 1 position against Daniel Lopez on the main straight. So he's trying to get back at him, but he's also got a driver right behind him as he's going into the last turn here. A little bit of oversteer on the entry. Now he's just losing the car on the exit. He's absolutely lost it. Oversteer on the exit, and then he's got nowhere to go, and he's just flicked the car in the opposite direction. A couple of drivers making a very close call there on the main straight, just trying to avoid the flipping car of Enzo Bonito, and that means absolutely race over, car damage, and total.
So we're just going to go over to Dan Blake, our pit reporter, and in the commentary booth to give us an update on which cars are DNF'd at the moment.
Sorry to interrupt, but actually Kirchhoff has just taken the lead from Gregor Hutu. It seemed like Hutu almost let him by. They're coming down the back straight. As they went into Auto Leap turn 5, actually Kirchhoff went down the inside. There was hardly any resistance. So I think these Team Redline drivers have decided to switch stations now. It's Garcia Kirchhoff leading from Gregor Hutu in 2nd. We're talking about retirements, cars that we have currently retired from the race. Marcus Caton, Petteri Cochavara, Jason Lovett, Ilka Haflinger, Martin Kroenke, Hugo Louis. We've got Alexia Lema out along with Luke McLean, Jake Sturgis, Fabio Burzini and Enzo Bonito. So we've already lost 10 cars in the early stages of this race.
10 cars doesn't seem like a lot, but out of 35 cars it does. We only have 35 cars sign up, so it leaves 25 on the lead lap right now.
Of course, we're going to get you a replay of the start in a couple of laps time, but we're also looking at the leaders here, and you guys said it, Atze Kirchhoff passed Gregor Hutu here, and by the looks of it, Atze Kirchhoff seems a bit faster at the moment. Not really able to tell if they are on a different strategy, maybe 1 stop, maybe 2 stop, but we're definitely going to keep an eye throughout the race there, what's going on. But by the looks of it, Gregor Hutu seems a little bit slower than his teammate.
I do agree with that. Gregor does look like he is on heavier fuel or whatnot. Kirchhoff has way too much speed for now. As we're going to go down to Lopez, I believe, on screen.
Yeah, it's just gone past Max DeLorco, so Daniel Lopez is up to the 9th position. The next cars he could be trying to overtake are Mergar Filo and Andre Bocha, who are also fighting hard as they go down towards the big section of the lap. And it's a bit wide there for Daniel Lopez. Back end went out. This could allow a chance for DeLorco to get past, but he's not quite close enough.
As well as Jeremy Bukulu, the Radicals driver, overtook Simon Patel here for the 11th position. They've been in a big battle for the past couple of laps. It's only been Joni Termela who started down in 20th position. There's a couple of drivers who started deep down in the grid. Timo Ivonen right behind him, Blake Counter right behind him. Matthias Egger now in the 16th position. He started in 24th. So all these drivers have been benefiting from the start and crash ahead. Of course, we're going to give you a replay of that momentarily, but it's been a 5-way train now, and it seems like Jeremy Butterloop can just about get a little bit away.
But also, you're talking about Matthias Egger. He finished 8th in the championship last year, but we haven't really seen much of the Orion driver this year. He's not really putting many stand-up performances on, so it's good to see him up in the 16th place.
So as we complete lap 8 here at Watkins Glen of 56, Atze Kirchhoff is your leader over Gregor Hutu. Emil Spindel in 3rd, Matti Patella in the 4th position, Jorn Jens in 5th, with Stephen Michaels, Bocha, Filo, Lopez and DeLorco rounding out your top 10.
Filo's actually gone past Andre Bocha, so that's Mergar Filo up into the 7th position.
I'm going to take a look at what exactly happened at the start of this race. So devastating start crash for both my 3D drivers, Hugo Lewis and Martin Kroenke. And by the looks of it, one of them has made a mistake into turn 1, and I believe it was Hugo Lewis, who's just got oversee on turn. He's right too late, trying to defend against Anton Kirkhoff. As the lights go green, a good start so far from Hugo Lewis, but also a good start from Kirkhoff. They don't really give them each other so much, but then Hugo Lewis just breaks too late. He flicks the car into the turn, loses it, and Martin Krönke has nowhere to go but hit his only teammate who's around there. So a devastating result at the start, and also a couple of other drivers there crashing. Alexia Loma out, and a couple of cars actually flipping across the track. Jason Levitt there, Joao Cardoso, as well as Ilka Harpala. So already in the first turn, a devastating start, not only for the two My3AD drivers, but also for about 5 more drivers. And you guys said it, we've already got 9 retirees here. Sturgis, Bonito, McLean, Eloma, Krönke, Lewis, Harpala, Levitt, Kotavara, and Caton.
That battle was hotting up between the cars from 11th to 15th. Jeremy Bootsleep started to get away, but we got Simon Cattell and Joni Toivonen close together, and also they're starting to pull out a little gap to Tiva Evening and Blake Townend, so that train is starting to go a bit further back. But here, Joni Toivonen down the inside of Simon Cattell, can't quite make it stick there. But that's the battle going on from 12th onwards.
So we have, sorry, I think it was Martin Patella, has gotten past Emil Spindel for 3rd and the last position on the podium. I think a lot of strategy is going to come into this, isn't it, Marius? Like, we don't know who's on 2 stops or 1 stops, who's on heavier fuel and whatnot, but it looks like maybe Artie Kirkhoff's on light fuel and Martin Patella's also on light fuel.
Yeah, it's really difficult to say, you say it. And once again, battle around Andre Bechke. He has not only lost the position against Mogafilo 2 laps ago, but now also Daniel Lopez trying to overtake the German driver here. And by the looks of it, he's not even defending against that. Usually you would pick the inside line there just to make it hard for your opponent to overtake you there. But he's just letting the guys park, as if he would be saying, go on, go past me, I don't care if you make 5 seconds of the gap, I've got a heavier car, and I might even do 1 pit stop less. So without defending, I might even say that he's on a 1-stop strategy today, and I can't really tell what the guys around him are, but the way they are breezing past him, I might just imagine them on a little bit less fuel.
It's going to be a great race at the end of this, just to find out what strategy worked, which strategy didn't. Pit lane here is not that long. It's not as long as Sebring. It's not as long as a lot of the other tracks, where they can probably get away with a 2-stop strategy here, I would think. What do you think, Dan?
I think they probably do get away with a 2-stop strategy, to be honest, as we see there's lots of cars on different strategies, so it'll be interesting to see what's going on. But we're looking back now at the battle for 12th position, and Joni Toivonen, as we said, he was worked with Simon Cattell, and he's actually managed to get past Simon Cattell. Now Simon Cattell is under pressure from Timo Evenen, so that battle we were talking about before is still hotting up.
I believe we just got a new fastest lap by Artie Kirkhoff, which was an 18.430. I don't think anyone else has got close to that, really. I think Gregor Hutu's only done an 18.799. Artie Kirkhoff is flying.
And he's got absolutely no slipstream. You might need to think about that. I mean, Mogafilo won 19.1 for him last lap, and he's been in the slipstream of Stephen Michaels for the majority of the lap. So that's a big factor here. But you said it, Kirkhoff 18.4, though, so that's at least half a second quicker than anyone else on the track at the moment.
You're talking about Mogafilo, and he's really drawn himself right up to the rear end of Stephen Michaels' car, and it might be worth watching, because Mogafilo, if he can get the draft, he can make a move going into turn 5. But the pair of them are also trying to catch up to Jorn Jens, and Jorn Jens is not too far in front of them, so that could be 5th, 6th and 7th engaged in battle soon.
You can't forget Daniel Lopez as well. These guys are really close behind. Andre Bocha, Daniel Lopez, Max DeLorco. That 10th position upwards all the way to Jorn Jens is only covered by about 7 seconds. And 7 seconds might seem like much to you guys, but it's not very much. It's one mistake really in this car.
And Mogafino's got a real run here on Stephen Michaels. He's going down the back straight. He pulls out now towards that right-hand side, and he's going to try and get the move done as he goes into turn 5. It's alongside. I think he will get it done, you know. Michaels tries to resist him, but it's no use. And Mogafino up to the 6th position into turn 5. So that's a position gain for Mogafino.
And by the looks of it, you said it, no defending once again, and you might be able to close down the inside, but it's really a difficult situation that turn, because you're coming with so much run on the straight. You've got so much slipstream that you might as well just let your opponent pass and do the same thing the other way around. So Filho made up 11 positions here. He started in 17th, yeah, and he's all the way up into 6th now. That's a great result for the Brazilian, yeah. And he's been one of the prodigies coming from the Pro Series last season, and he's made a good showing there. He's been one of the main title contenders, and he's been struggling for the Drivers' World Championship Series here, and might be a good race today. 6th position for him now, and by the looks of it, Johan Jens ahead of him isn't really so much away. He's doing a bit slower lap times as well, so they might catch up to the Mafia D driver in a couple of laps time.
Johan Jens
just
also
quickly
stuck behind the car of Fulvio Barazini, who's currently running 3 laps down, but he's in the race. He pulls over to let him through though.
Just quickly, you might have just seen on your screen the gains and losses from the start positions. Our biggest mover and shaker at the moment is Jeremy Boudelou in car number 7, Radical Prepared FW31, now in the 11th position. Started way back in position 27. I did mention he had a really bad qualifying. Maybe he just wasn't able to put a lap down, but he is flying through the field, and he's in a great battle at the moment going through the field.
Yeah, you said before that it's a very good overtaking, and it's been proven right. Jeremy Boudelou making 16 positions up. There's not many tracks on this calendar where we'll be able to do that.
So I'm just going to hand over to Marius. When's the first pit stops?
Well, I'm thinking about a one-stop strategy somewhat starts around lap 28 to 30, so it usually starts a bit later than half of the race. We've got 56 laps today, so I'm thinking about lap 30 here, and I'm not really sure if anyone's still on a two-stop strategy, because the times, they're just so little difference in the times here, and even if you're doing 118s right now on a two-stop strategy, you're only making 0.4 of a second per lap to the one-stop strategy. So I'm thinking it might not be this good of an idea to go on a two-stop today. However, you're still making up time, means you've got lower fuel, means you've got to pit earlier, that's for sure. And for the two-stop strategy, it might be around lap 20, 21 there.
We talked about Matthias Ager earlier in 16th place, and he's trying to make a move on Blake Townend. So the radical driver, Townend, has got a lot of pressure from Matthias Ager as they now go into the chute, turn number 6 on the boot section of the track. Can't get around the outside there going into turn 5. That's a move which you've got to be very, very good to really stick off. It's one that we very rarely see. But Matthias Ager is certainly letting Blake Townend know he's there at the moment.
These guys are having a cracking battle. There's a lot of really good battles going on through the field. Stephen Michaels, and Daniel Lopez for position 7 and 8 are also catching Mogar Filo at a fast pace, who's also catching Johan Jens for 5th position. This race has just got battles all throughout it. But I still believe, personally, going back to the fuel thing, that Artsy Kirchhoff is on a two-stop strategy. No way that he can be pulling away as he is at the moment from Gregor Hutu, who's now the gap on lap 15 was 2.1 seconds. So
and Daniel Lopez all over the back of Stephen Michaels as they came through the turn 2, 3 and 4 section. He's now going to be on the inside, and as we said before, it's very hard to get the line on the outside. Stephen Michaels tries to put a bit of a fight that some of the others have, but he's not put a big enough fight up. And Daniel Lopez continues his impressive run up to 7th place. Now we're looking to see if he can catch up to Mogar Filo and Stephen Michaels in front.
So Johan Jens last lap round was 6/10 slower than what Daniel Lopez was. Daniel Lopez is the man on the move. Johan Jens did make a little mistake, but still, Lopez, I think, he's got a great shot at getting a top 5 this race.
He's really starting to catch up as well. He's only just got past Stephen Michaels, but he's already pulling a gap towards Burke Michaels and closing on to Mogar Filo, and Mogar Filo in turn sees the mistake by Johan Jens, an opportunity to get closer, and Johan Jens probably went a bit wider than he wanted to, and Mogar Filo's got a real run as they go into turn 1. He comes to try and make a move down the inside. It's going to be, I thought he was going to try his, in fact, Johan Jens, there's a spin there, half spin there for Mogar Filo. He's lost out to Daniel Lopez and Stephen Michaels there.
And that's a big question. I mean, why does he try to overtake into turn 1? could have just stick behind Jörn Jensen, got him on the straight. He's obviously got the faster car at the moment, so just using slipstream. Take a look at Daniel Lopez. He's doing exactly that, and Jörn Jensen, brilliant defending. He's the, one of the first drivers here pulling to the inside. You've seen it with Matthias Egger and Blake Townend a couple of laps ago. You cannot go around the outside, as simple as that. Even if you've got the car alongside your opponent, you cannot overtake around the outside. You need to do it over the inside. And as long as Jörn Jensen keeps this position, he's got more and more chance of getting a good result, because we've only got about 6 laps to go for the 2 stoppers to pit, and another chance for Daniel Lopez there. And this might be it now. Jörn Jensen still holding the car on the outside, but he's running out of track and is now for the inside here. And he might even get that position back, as Daniel Lopez needs to go all the way across the bumpy section on the road, but he's getting a better run here, and that just shows how much faster the car of Daniel Lopez is at the moment. But Jörn Jensen still defending.
Great defending for Jörn Jensen, but eventually it's not enough. Daniel Lopez has gone past, but Michaels could lose another position here, because Stephen Michaels is alongside him as they go into turn number 1. He's going to try and make the move that Philo tried that before, but this time Stephen Michaels makes a stick, and Philo also smells blood in the water, and he's making a position as well. So some loss of positions there for Jörn Jensen.
So just going through the field as they complete lap number 17, I do believe it's Archie Kirchhoff, your leader here at Watkins Glen. Currently a 2.5 second gap over Gregor Hutto, your championship leader. Martini Patella in the 3rd position, 8 seconds behind. Emil Spindell 4th, Daniel Lopez 5th, Jörn Jensen 6th, Stephen Michaels 7th, Mogar Philo 8th, Andre Bocha 9th, Max DeLorco rounding out your top 10.
We've had a lot of change coming into turn 5 upside, some overtaking moves have been made as Andre Bocha found his way past Jörn Jensen, but also Mogar Philo managed to get down the inside of Stephen Michaels. There was some great racing there. They were side by side, too deep there, as they both tried, there's all 4 drivers switch positions. That was actually quite phenomenal there. But at the moment, Archie Kirchhoff is pulling away from Gregor Hutto. The gap is 2.9 seconds. And Marty Patillo is actually doing well. He's sticking with them. He's 9 seconds behind Archie Kirchhoff, but he's got a 4-second gap back to Emil Spindell. This is a really good drive so far from Marty Patillo.
We've got a great battle going on between the My3ID guys of Jörn Jensen and Andre Bocha, and then also Stephen Michaels in here as they go up the hill and down the long straight. Looks like Jörn Jensen not going to have enough. Andre Bocha's also going to drive, but these guys battling for the 7th, 8th and 9th positions as they head down into the carousel turn 4. And these guys are just, are they just going to be hanging, Marius? Are they just going to be hanging and waiting, or should they be on the move?
Well, at the moment I wonder if Jörn Jensen really can do anything else. It looks like he's able to stick with these guys, and especially his teammate Andre Bocha, who's probably on a different strategy. Can't really help him here, but by the looks of it, at least Jörn Jensen hasn't really got the opportunity to make a pass here. And talking about passes, Blake Townend once again made up a position. He's not only overtaken Matthias Egger a couple of laps ago, but now also is past Timo Ivonen for place number 14. So, by the looks of it, you can actually make passes, but you do need the slipstream, and you do, that's a fact, need the inside line for turn number 3, and that's the only chance you can make a pass here today.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of moves there going into the turn 5 section. Just shows how much of a factor the draft is causing on this track of Watkins Glen. It's got a very, very long straight, and it really is really good to watch. Also, we've seen a few moves into the hill corner as well as they go up towards the hills. But as we go now, we've got, it's our top 10. Archie Kirchhoff in the lead by 3.1 seconds to Gregor Hutto. 3rd is Marty Patilla. 4th is Emil Spindell. And 5th we have Daniel Lopez. Mogar Philo in 6th. Stephen Michaels 7th. Andre Bocha 8th. Jörn Jensen 9th. And Max DeLorco 10th. But the race really did change in the first corner of the lap, really, with the collision which saw Martin Kroenke and Hugo Louis, the 2-3 MyID drivers, go off the track into each other. And really, since that, it was really been Team Redline dominating this race. Not much real competition. We've got the all 4 racer cars of Patilla, Spindell and Lopez, positions 3 to 5 as well. So a very strong performance from them as well. But at the moment, it looks like it's going to be Team Redline taking the first 2 positions.
Yes, exactly right. You did a great review there of the first part of the race. We could do it we could talk about the first quarter of the race, sorry, about this whole part, this whole rest of the race. It's just amazing what's happened in the first part. This championship has just changed. First lap, first corner, and the championship has just been completely thrown into the air once again. I think now that once this all pans out, that I think we're going to see someone like maybe Martin Patella or Emil Spindel up on the podium. And it's going to be good. It's going to give them a lot of points. And I hope that this will just maybe cross them over the line so they can qualify for the WCS license again next year and get them back in here, because these guys are great drivers. And hopefully, Marius, I'll throw it over to you. How hard is it to qualify for a WCS license for the first-time viewers who are watching for tonight?
Well, sorry, we continue that in a minute. Atsi Kirkov goes into the pits, and that just reminds us, two-stop strategy around lap 20. That's pretty much bang on, because it is lap 20 right now, and it is the first pit stop for the driver from Netherlands here, the Team Redline driver, and he's only going to take about half, a little bit more than half of the fuel the other drivers will need, but of course he needs to do a second pit stop. And Dan, you said earlier, the pit lane isn't really that long here, and the disadvantage of a two-stop isn't really that big as it was on Sebring, but you're still going to lose a couple of positions. And by the looks of it, Atsi Kirkov is also going to come right out in traffic, as there's Stephen Michaels coming right around the first turn here. He's got slipstream of Kirkov, and I believe he's also going to try for a pass right now.
Yeah, he's got a slipstream of... He's got a slipstream of Stephen Michaels is really putting pressure. Remember that Atsi Kirkov's just been in for fuel, so he's going to be heavier. And now, to be said about the outside line, it looks like that's what Stephen Michaels is going to try. And the thing he's going to get, he's got it done before they even get into the corner. So Stephen Michaels with a fantastic move there, but on the straight, gets it done before they go into turn 5. And I think Atsi Kirkov being so heavy on fuel played a contributing factor into that.
Atsi now has 10 laps to go in traffic, just pointed out by Marius Golombek in the spectator chat right here in the commentary booth. But he's got 10 laps in traffic. He's got draft. Like, Marius, I'm going to let you comment on this. He's got draft. Why can't he catch Gregor if they're on a one-stop strategy? They're going to have heavier fuel, and I believe that Artie's just going to be lighter. He's going to be faster in a straight line and going to be able to catch him.
Well, you're right, but it is... Well, he's going to be struggling for a couple of laps right now, but then for, let's see, at least 5 laps, he's probably going to have a faster car, but we've seen it already. It's going to be hard to overtake here, no question, and you need to get a good run out of turn 1, we may not forget that, to even have a chance of a run on the straight. And he's got Andre Böttcher right behind him, 3:10 for a second, as well as Jörn Jens, so he's not exactly, keeping his eyes out of the rearview mirrors. So with a slower car, he not only needs to defend to the rear, but he also needs to attack to the front to keep his two-stop strategy working. And that's a whole different situation. As a driver, the best thing you can imagine is just to get out of the pits. You're all alone on the track, maybe meeting a teammate who lets you pass, something like that. And you can basically focus on driving, focus on just going for any good lap after another. And it is good. You don't need to focus on anything else. Yes, he still has the draft, but it is still going to be a troubled situation in a couple of turns where the draft doesn't really benefit him. However, you want a clear track ahead of you, and just like that, you're not exactly making the two-stop work too good. 4.6 second pit stop for Kirkov, so incredibly short. Comparing that for Yuda Inarumi, 6.8. That might already be a two-stop strategy, so you're not exactly losing that much or gaining that much on a pit stop time. However, he's made another drive through to the pits, and we've got another driver in here, Mogafilo.
And also Martin Patella is in the pits as well, so the driver who we thought he was in 3rd position, I was thinking before, if Atsi Kirkov was on a two-stop strategy, could maybe Martin Patella pip him for 2nd place, but that's gone right out the window now. He comes like just behind Jeremy Boutelive there, so that will put him back in that's 13th place for Martin Patella.
Now, let's throw the question open and up in the air, especially to you guys watching at home and online. Gregor Hutu, your championship leader, one-stop strategy, can he make it work? Let's go around the commentary booth and see what these guys think. I personally think Gregor Hutu has this race in the bag after, and we've got Gregor Hutu in the pit lane.
That's a very early pit stop, and I'm almost safe to say that this is not a one-stop strategy. He would have 33 laps to go here, and that is quite surely a two-stop strategy here, and it's exactly not what I've been expecting here. So a couple of drivers here still seem to be on a one-stop, and even if you're 30 seconds down, like Jörn Jens, Andre Böttcher, these guys, they are still going to come out close, and we're going to take a look at where exactly they're going to pass or not pass Gregor Hütter. He's already going through the pits again, through the pit boxes, and he's out. And Jörn Jens, Andre Böttcher and the likes are just entering turn 1, so it's not really that far away, and they've been 30 seconds behind them.
Nancy Kirchhoff and Gregor Hütter come out side by side, and the two team red line drivers will be careful. Kirchhoff's going to take the outside line, but that is a fantastic way to come out of the pits. They're side by side, very entertaining, and I think Hütter's going to actually Kirchhoff have this. He's not putting much resistance, well he is putting a bit of resistance to the fact, so Gregor Hütter not as accommodating as was earlier, and a little bit of a mistake there maybe for Hütter. Got a couple of goals on the grass there, but the end result is that we have a new race leader, and that is actually Kirchhoff.
Not race leader just yet, Dan. Don't get ahead of yourself, mate. We still have a couple of guys still who have not pitted. Artie Kirchhoff is your race leader who, I believe, actually no one else has pitted. No, Daniel Lopez is your race leader who has not pitted in position 1, and with Stephen Michaels in position 2, Artie Kirchhoff third on the road, first person to pit.
That move by Kirchhoff on Gregor Hütter though, Gregor Hütter's caught up over that last stint, so Kirchhoff been stuck with the Stephen Michaels and Andrew Böttcher, actually cost him a bit of time. He's had about a 3-second gap before the pit lane sequence started. Now Kirchhoff finds himself under pressure from Gregor Hütter, who actually Kirchhoff in fact is now only 1.1 seconds off, and Gregor Hütter's under real pressure here in fact from Andrzej Böttcher from My 3ID. So Andrzej Böttcher is going to try and make a move here on Gregor Hütter, who goes to the outside line, and this is what we've seen with the heavier cars. The outside line doesn't work, and Böttcher had the draft as well, which will help, and Böttcher's going to try and make it stick round the outside, and Andrzej Böttcher is just about going to make it stick, I think, yes, but Gregor Hütter not going to give in, but now he eventually does give in, and Andrzej Böttcher is now up into third place, so a position gain for Andrzej Böttcher.
Just quickly going back to the Kirchhoff versus Hütter battle. Hütter's pit stop was a 5.5 second pit stop versus Kirchhoff a 4.6 second. So it was a second loss for Gregor in the pit stop. So if that second was back, he would be in front of Artie. He wouldn't have to battle with Böttcher and Kirchhoff and now Jörn Jens. It's this pit stop strategy and in laps and out laps and fast laps and clean air is just so vital for these drivers to get it incorrect.
So we might go on then.
Any small mistake on this track, as we said before, will cost a lot of time, and Gregor Hütter did lose a little bit of time now on actually Kirchhoff, and he's stuck behind Andrzej Böttcher, probably certainly was not in his game plan, but also and Gregor Hütter's got Jörn Jens coming up behind him as well, so maybe Jörn Jens fancies his chances and they were taking move on the legendary Gregor Hütter.
So what I was about to say is, we've been talking about you cannot pass around the outside there, but in fact you can, but you need to rely on the driver on the inside to give in, which was exactly what we've seen in the fight between Böttcher and Hütter there. Gregor Hütter is not going to try to do anything drastic or anything aggressive here. He's got the situation on his side. His teammate is in second position, Stephen Michaels yet to hit, as well as Andre Böttcher and Jörn Jens. So they can pretty much all take this as a relaxing situation, just try to end this race. But he has to think of it. He's still around the guys who are only doing one pit stop, and Stephen Michaels, for example, is 3 seconds ahead of him right now. So if he's only doing one pit stop, it is, yeah, it's going to be a little closer, that's for sure. Can't really tell how much closer it will be, but he's not exactly in the situation to be totally careful in these situations. He still needs to look in front, and he still needs to gain time here, because right now Stephen Michaels is making time up as soon as Gregor Hütter is stuck behind Andre Böttcher. Another 0.4 of a second this lap, and if he's really on a one stop by the looks of it, he's not exactly in the match situation right now.
Can I also put this question to you? With Gregor Hütter where he is now, and actually Kirchhoff in front, would Gregor Hütter maybe consider letting Kirchhoff finish for the championship? Because Hütter is going to get vital points here, and if Kirchhoff can win this race and get 50 points, he'll put the pressure on Hugo Louis. That'd be very, very close. and Hutu will have a massive gap over Hutu maybe for the championship. Would Hutu perhaps maybe let Kirchhoff win this race in order to catch him up to Hugo Louis a bit more?
Yeah, that's actually a good idea, because even if Gregor finishes second, he's still going to make up 40 points on Hugo Louis, as well as Martin Krönke, of course. And since Krönke is also not scoring any points today, Atze Kirchhoff will make up a whole lot on not just Krönke, but also he will be right around Hugo Louis in the championship. So before the race, we've been talking Hutu against Louis and Krönke against Kirchhoff, and now it will be Louis against Kirchhoff and Hutu far at the front and Krönke far at the back. So they'll be pretty much changing the whole championship situation.
I think today is a crucial. I think this at the end of the season we'll look back at Watkins Glen as the day that the championship really changed. And I think Gregor Hutu, it's too early to say he's got one hand on the trophy, but Gregor Hutu certainly after this race will be in a very, very good position to claim another title. But at the moment he's losing about 4 tenths of lap to Stephen Michaels, so Gregor Hutu losing a bit of time, but he's 3.8 behind at the moment, but he's doing well. He's still behind Andre Bocha and Jorn Jens. They all seem to be holding station at the moment. They're not really making an attacking moves on each other, they're just driving their race. But at the moment it's Stephen Michaels in the lead. He hasn't pitted yet. Atze Kirchhoff in second. In third place we have Andre Bocha.
So pit stops coming up in the next 2 to 3 laps here. We've still got a couple of drivers out, so the order isn't exactly clean as it is now. So Stephen Michaels, your race leader, 36 minutes on the clock. He's going to pit in about 2 or 3 laps time. I'm still thinking about lap 30 might be the target lap here. Andre Bocha in third has not made a pit stop yet. Jorn Jens, the pro driver here, making a brilliant show. 5th position for him, he's not been in the pits. Max Delorco in 6th, not been in the pits. Joni Termella in 7th, not been in the pits. So you see, there's a couple of drivers who haven't done their pit stops yet. And we've been talking about that before the race. It might be a good decision here to go on 1 stop. And 4.3 seconds from Gregor Hutu to Stephen Michaels right now. That's 1st to 4th. If Michaels can just extend this gap to, let's say, 5.5 to 6 seconds before his pit stop, he might have a real shot at a podium at least, and with 6 seconds he can even take a look at challenging Gregor Hutu here, because when the pit stop is over, Gregor Hutu's only got about 15 laps of free track ahead of him when the 2-stop pit stop start again. So he's doing his second pit stop, and he's going to be right out in traffic if he's unlucky.
We're looking at Matthias Eiger now. He's under pressure from Paul Ilbrink. This is goal for 14th or 15th, and he's trying to go around the outside. And as we said, there was no cooperation there, so Matthias Eiger had no real chance of going around there. But at the moment, Paul Ilbrink is still in 14th to Matthias Eiger in 5th. And as we were talking before about Stephen Michaels, I think Stephen Michaels has really put himself in the box seat here for a podium position with this strategy. I think it's a strategy. We've got a retirement as well, Marius. Who's a retirement from the race?
Yeah, I believe it is Emil Spindle. Just gonna take a look at what exactly happened here. But he stopped the car on the track, and no idea what was going on for him, but he's just come across the turn there and he stopped the car on the track, so we're suspecting a hardware failure at the moment.
Technical difficulty is very, very cruel at this level, but it does happen occasionally. But speaking about failures here, Matthias Eiger first to get past Paul Ilbrink on that last lap, but Ilbrink has compromised himself though, going through the S's section of turn 2 and 3. Didn't have a very good line. That's going to allow Matthias Eiger to get the draft and going down the back straight. He's going to try and make that move around the outside again. He's going to be a very, very brave man, but Ilbrink cuts him off on the going into turn 5, takes his line. So Matthias Eiger stays in currently 14th position, after making a position up through the demise of Emil Spindle.
So pit stop window opening up for the 1-stoppers here. Is Stephen Michaels coming in? No, Not this lap, and he's crossing the 40-minute mark in turn 1. So 40 minutes out without a pit stop, and we're thinking this is one of the shortest races in the whole schedule, so the drivers will only do about 67, 68 minutes of driving here, and we've had other tracks in the schedule which were way over 1 hour 20. So this is going to be one of the shortest races, and Andre Böttcher and Jörn Jens are still out, lap 31 now, and the longer they stay out now, that's also interesting guys, the longer they stay out, of course the less they need to refuel, and they're still looking good on the strategy. Steve Michaels made up another couple of tenths again, 5 seconds to Gregor Huttu now, and the zone where Gregor Huttu has got the possibility of putting in fast lap times due to fast track, due to free track, is getting smaller and smaller, because if they pit in a couple of laps, Gregor will only have about 10 to 12 laps of free track ahead of him, and if he's gaining a tenth, a 2 tenths, 3 tenths per lap, that's only adding up to a few seconds, and that might be enough for Steve Michaels to come right out around him when the second pit stops have been made for the 2 stops.
We got word from the pits that Andre Böttcher could be coming in this lap, so it'll be interesting to see if that is the case. If the 3rd place car of Andre Böttcher comes in the pits, if he does, that will free up Gregor Huttu and give the free space that you were talking about. Böttcher is now just coming round the last corner, and is he going to go in towards the pits?
Well,
yes,
Michaels
he
is in as well.
Michaels and Andre Böttcher in, so our 1st and 3rd place cars are in the pits, Marius.
Yeah, and Jörn Jens stays out, and that's maybe a good decision here. Still remember, the latest addition to the My3AD team is Jörn Jens, the pro driver. Looks like he's making a good show today, moved himself up into 3rd position, only got the 2 stoppers ahead right now. And what I mean by this is a good situation here is that Andre Böttcher pits right now, he's his teammate, Jörn Jens pits in 1 lap, and by the looks of it, Andre Böttcher has overshot his pit box, so that's exactly not what you want to do. And if Jörn Jens is staying out here, he's also getting a good situation on the pit window, because he's not only pressurizing Gregor Huttu right now, but he's also need to refuel 1 lap less. He's also getting a good exit here, and he's supposedly also finishing the 33rd lap ahead of Andre Böttcher when he's done his pit stop.
And Stephen Michaels came out of pits and very nearly had contact with Mogar Filo, and Mogar Filo is now on the outside of Michaels and will make the position up. So Mogar Filo's gone round the outside, Michaels lets him go. So Mogar Filo has kept this position, was going up a position there, but Stephen Michaels came out in front of Andre Böttcher as he expected. The pit stop times with Böttcher 7.6 in the pits, and Michaels was in there for 8.1. But Andre Böttcher has a relatively free track in front of him now, whilst you see Stephen Michaels stuck behind Mogar Filo, and that could really hamper his progress for the rest of this race.
Jörn Jens in as well as his teammate Joni Termala, and that leaves Max Del Orco out and Jeremy Bouteloup out, so they will be one of the few drivers here. Matti Pietele has made the 2-stop strategy stop as well, so Jeremy Bouteloup and Max Del Orco 3rd and 4th right now, the only drivers on a 1-stop strategy still out and supposedly to pit this lap, lap 33, as Jörn Jens is putting fuel in his car and he's rolling again around the pit stops here out of the pits, and we're taking a look at where exactly he's coming out. Remember, Andre Böttcher had a bad pit stop here, overshooting his pit stall, and yes, by the looks of it, Jörn Jens is taking the pit stop. He's done a really good pit stop because he's finishing right out ahead of Miguel Martin, and Andre Böttcher is way down and 4 or 5 seconds at least behind him.
We've got a double move here, because whilst Miguel Martin is trying to go past the car of Jörn Jens, we've also got behind them the battle between Mogar Filo. Oh, sorry, it's not, never mind. The move was Böttcher and Böttcher versus Slocum. Yes, Böttcher versus Slocum. And Slocum has actually got ahead of Andre Böttcher, so Andrew Slocum has gained a position. He's also got Dion Verges behind him as well.
Yeah, so by the looks of it, man, it's actually better with a 1-stop strategy to pit out behind the 2-stop strategy than ahead. By the looks of it, I mean, Stephen Michaels has been right on the tail of Mogar Filo, and he's already 4 seconds down, 3.5 seconds down.
Yeah, also, he said about Max Del Orco, he still hasn't come into the pit, so on lap 34, and Max Del Orco really has stretched out the fuel. We said before the race that Max Del Orco is very good with strategy and playing himself into position. He's currently in 3rd place. He won't stay there obviously when he pits, but he's got a clear track, low fuel. Max Del Orco can be making up some positions here by making the strategy different to everybody else's.
Yeah, and you say how good that is, and you see how good that is. Jeremy Bouteloup, also one of the late one-stoppers here, pitted in lap 33, just come out of the pits. He's had about 5 seconds to Andrea Böttcher before his pit stop, and one side due to the pit stop failure from Böttcher, but also because of the good strategy here, he's down to about 3 seconds here. So a good strategy from Bouteloup, and by the looks of it, I'm pretty sure Max Delorco is going to come this lap. The tyres are still going to be absolutely shattered as he's going for lap 35.
Also, Max Delorco is actually the 3rd fastest car on the track at the moment. The only cars who are lapping faster than him are the 2 Team Redline drivers of Atsi Kirchhoff and Gregor Hutto. So Max Delorco again is gone around for another lap. So this is lap number 35, and as we said before, we're expecting him to come in earlier than this. So Max Delorco really stretching out the fuel strategy, and this really could see him gain some positions because he's very quick at the moment.
Matthias Egger trying for position number 7. Daniel Lopez, the 4-racer Adira driver here. Both have been in the pits, and sorry, no, both haven't been in the pits. Matthias Egger also one of the one-stoppers staying out here, and that's going to be a difficult situation for him as Daniel Lopez has been in the pits. And by the looks of it, Matthias Egger of course has the light car, but he's not going to try to make any move here, as he's still knowing fresh tires on the Lopez car, still going to be faster for him. And I'm safe to say, I mean, I was safe to say last lap, but Max Delorco, when will you pit?
That is the question, when will Max Delorco pit, but every lap he stays out, he's doing his chances no harm at all of a good finish. Just about to start coming around to the last corner now. About to start lap number 36, and Delorco stays out again. So Max Delorco really is stretching the fuel out, and he's doing a fantastic job here. Lap number 36, and Delorco still has not come into the pits. And what this means is when he comes into the pits, he will have to have less fuel put on board, so it ultimately should make his pit stop quicker. So Max Delorco really is doing a fantastic job today at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and the pit stop times should be for him around, yeah, right where Andrea Böttcher and Jeremy Bouteloup is. So he's going to finish his pit stop and come out right where these guys are. And with the lap times he's doing right now, I mean 18.8, he's gaining over a second per lap on drivers like Jan Jensen and Andrea Böttcher. So that's a huge advantage by just staying out 1 lap longer than he's making up over a second.
He's got that clear air, and that's one thing that you want in a strategy like Max Delorco's. If he was stuck behind another car, he won't be getting that much time, but because he's got the clear air, he's able to put his foot down, he's able to go to the maximum, he's got low fuel, and it really is Max Delorco showing this strategic nous again. He's done it in previous races, and now he's doing it again, and we reckon that Max could probably come out about 8th position from his pit stop. He's coming around now to complete another lap. He's coming around to start lap number 37. Will he pit this time? No. He stayed out again.
How does he, like, have they must have put an additional tank in that car, because I bet he's still running on the fumes. Someone in the spectators might need to calculate on how long the car can actually go on fuel, but he's not just stretching this a couple of laps longer, he's 6 laps longer out than the normal one-stop strategy window here.
I'm lost for words. This is absolutely fantastic fuel conservation for Max Delorco. He's really done a fantastic job, and he's only 2/10 slower than Atsi Kirchhoff. So Max Delorco really is a man on the move at the moment. We said he could come out in 8th position. He might even be trying to get into the end of the top 5 if he can carry on these sort of laps. But the question is, how long can he stay out? We thought he'd come in a lot earlier than this, but at the front, Atsi Kirchhoff leads by 4.6 seconds to Gregor Hutto at the moment. So that Atsi Kirchhoff has actually extended his lead to Gregor Hutto. How long do we think it will be before they start making their pit stops again?
Well, they've been in around lap 20, so I'm thinking 40, 42 maybe. You can make the middle stint longer, or you can make the middle stint shorter, however your strategic situation is right now. And if they've got a pretty comfortable situation, so Max Delorco is in, so in fact he's not driving a hybrid car, the car still uses fuel, and he is in, he needs to refuel here. And think about that then, he's been 8 seconds down to Stephen Michaels, and he's gonna pit out, and I believe he is gonna get Jörn Jens here, and it's just gonna put him right on the rear of Stephen Michaels, and he's still running on better tires for the end of the race, and he's need to refuel a little less than Stephen Michaels here.
Yeah, as we said before, I think he will actually come out in front of Stephen Michaels. Max Delorco leaving his pit box now as Stephen Michaels comes down the straight. And Max
Ooh, that's going to
DeLorco,
be close.
it's going to be very tight indeed. And he's going to come out in P6. So Max DeLorco does
Wow.
come out just in front of Stephen Michaels. But you've got to remember that Max DeLorco has got less speed. So Stephen Michaels will have a prime opportunity here to make moves in turn 5.
Yeah, and it sounds so easy. I mean, anyone can come up with this strategy, but you need to make it work. And the way he made it work while Stephen Michaels is going back past him, and I believe Del Orco is trying to defend here at least. He's staying on the inside, and that just shows you can actually defend your position. But now Stephen Michaels once again has the inside for the left turn, but Del Orco right back in racing, right back, and he's got the car with similar fuel than Stephen Michaels, but his tires are nowhere near as up to temperature and as up to performance than Michaels, and he's defending this position. And what I was about to say is, it's easy to come up with this strategy. It's easy to just go ahead, refuel the car, put in lots of fuel and pit late. But the times he's been doing at the end of his stint require such performance there, and he's just made up nearly 8 seconds by just staying hot 8 laps longer, and that's just amazing.
He's on a ragged edge though, as he came out of the hill, he had some wheels on the grass there. He just about kept it under control, but Max DeLorco there, some of the best defending we've seen in the championship so far. And as he came around the turn 5 and turn 6 section at the straight, he really did defend well at the hill. So it's been really good defending from Max DeLorco. He keeps that 6th position, and I think that defending he did last lap will be crucial for his end of race position, because he's kept in front of Stephen Michaels. He's got the clear air, and now Stephen Michaels is going to have to try and make an attack again, which he's going to try and do now, I believe.
Yeah, I've just been taking a look at the pit stop Kirchhoff's been doing. He's been coming out of his pit box and just releasing the clutch a bit early, and he's putting the car a full 90 degrees sideways, facing the main straight there, and he needed to reverse to get back on the track, so that's easily 6-7 seconds lost for Kirchhoff, and that might even be a position here.
Yeah, actually Kirchhoff could lose out to Martin Patila. We'll have a GlacierTV replay of that accident very soon. And talking of Martin Patila is now pulling into pit road, so third place car Martin Patila goes into the pit lane.
So, will it be the one stop here in the upper hand position? I mean, even Atze Kirchhoff, without that mistake, would have been close, but definitely now he's going to struggle. And I don't believe he's going to have a situation there, as with, we're getting the replay here from the situation he had in the pits. But that would be devastating if you're having such a good race and even would make the 2-stop work here, and then run into such a problem and end up only finishing 3rd, or maybe even be kicked down the podium.
There's only 7 seconds about Max DeLorco now. That just shows how much time Atze Kirchhoff has lost. So I think Atze Kirchhoff has handed Gregor Hutu victory, unless Hutu suffers a similar problem. But you've got to think that someone of Gregor Hutu's experience won't suffer a similar problem. But it's really cost him some time there, as he's now down to 5th place on the road. And Michaels and DeLorco is down, is 6-7 seconds down from Atze Kirchhoff, as we said before, running in 7th place. And Gregor Hutu's in. Gregor Hutu, the race leader, comes into the pits, Marius.
Yeah, and I hope he's not doing the same mistake. I wonder if that's been oil or any spillings on the racetrack there. But Atze Kirchhoff, of course, losing a couple of seconds. And just imagine if he wouldn't have done that, he's easily lost 6-7 seconds there. So he would be 15 seconds ahead of these guys. And Gregor obviously going to be a little bit further ahead. But the question will just be, who's going to be race winner? Who will they decide? Of course, there's no team order rules here anyhow. And Gregor is rolling again. He's out of the pits, and yes, he will stay in front. And from that distance, it will be quite a bit harder to make a team order adjustment here, as Atze Kirchhoff is way down in 2nd position.
Daniel Lopez and Mo Garfilo in the pits as well. So the second wave of pit stops on 2-stoppers are well underway.
So just as the last guys who make these pit stops in a couple of laps, we will of course go through the top 10 standings. But as far as we can tell, I would say we've got a couple of surprises this race so far. Of course, we had the start crash with Hugo Lewis and Martin Könke, the two My 3D drivers out, and the 2 red line drivers, Hutu and Kirchhoff, therefore taking 1-2 here so far. And surprises by that, I mean, definitely Max DeLorco so far, stretching out the fuel to what I've never seen before. I mean, 6-7 laps longer than what we expected. And definitely another surprise, Jörn Jens, the pro driver number 64 here, making his 2nd showing in the Drivers' World Championship Series, qualifying 5th and currently running 8th, but a couple of drivers still doing that pit stops, so already a great race for him. but a devastating race for drivers like Trunk and Lewis. But we've not even talked about that. We've had another couple of retirees, Luke McLean, for example. We've had Alexia Loma, Ilka Hapala, and these guys are usually pretty much the factor for the top 10 results. So we're not just going to have a surprise at the front, but we're also going to have a surprise in the top 10.
There's going to be some drivers scoring some very crucial points towards the top 25, and also talking about Max DeLorco, I say he might be in the top 5, but Max DeLorco has actually put himself up into the 3rd position. That's an outright 3rd position as well. So Max DeLorco, who came into this race, he came into the race on the back of some good results before, and he's going to do it again. So Max DeLorco really is stringing together some fantastic results. So come the end of the season, it could be these results in this middle section of the season which see him gain his World Championship licence for another year. A fantastic strategic call today. It's really come at chunks for him.
So with the last couple of drivers here in on the two-step strategy, and we've got a battle between Jeremy Bouteloup and Joni Termele. And Termele has already been in, he's on a one-stop strategy, and Jeremy Bouteloup as well on a one-stop strategy. So these are two guys you're seeing on a similar strategy. They are on similar fuel, similar tires, and currently running in 8th and 9th positions. So a battle between the My380 and the Redding driver.
Showing the gains and losses, and Max DeLorco has been singing his praises. He's made 13 positions up on his starting position. Stephen Michaels is behind him at 4th place. He's been at 9 positions as well. But the man who has made the most moves is Jeremy Bouteloup, as we talked about before. He's made up 18 positions. So that Radicals driver really has been doing the moves today. He's up to 9th place. It's a gain of 18 places. And we're talking about DeLorco before in the championship. He was running 8th with 97 points. Of course, some of the drivers in front of him are not scoring very well. It was Enzo Benito, Ilka Hapala not racing, he's retired already. So DeLorco could technically put himself into 6th position in the championship. So Max DeLorco really is putting himself as a consistent frontrunner in this championship. Maybe up to 6th place if he can keep this up by the end of today.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's going to throw up some questions here in the driver's field. I mean, showing this type of strategy, it's basically more than extreme. You wouldn't even think about going so far, and he did that, and he's made it work. So I think a couple of drivers will need to readjust, and even Team Redline will probably see two-stop isn't probably the favorite way to go here. 12 seconds ahead, nevertheless, comfortable lead, but it's not really that much, and they've probably gained that on the first stint. And remember, Max DeLorco still started all the way down in the 16th position, so imagine he would have started in 3rd, how this would look right now.
Max DeLorco started in 3rd. He probably could have been challenging Gregor Hutu and Atsi Kirchhoff, but we've got position here looking at the battle for 10th place. Daniel Lopez has managed to get past Simon Cattell, but also in close attendance we have Timo Evenen. So this battle at the bottom end of the top 10 starting to hot up, and Daniel Lopez, who's been quite a few positions up during the course of this race, has been on our cameras quite a bit today, up into that final position, into 10th position in the top 10. He's got Qatar 11th, Timo Evenen 12th, and he's got about 3 seconds, and there's another battle in front of him between Jeremy Bouteloup and Gianni Tamala. So bottom end of the top 10 is still quite racy, Marius.
Yeah, it is, and Termele against Bouteloup will heat up once again here. You're only just trying to close the inside every lap they go by here, and they will go in the loop, and Bouteloup almost got the full car ahead of Termele there, but he needs to leave his opponent, his fellow racer, a gap on the inside, and every lap they come out like this, side by side for the left, and yes, this time Jeremy Bouteloup makes it stick and takes the 8th position from the My380 driver here. Good move, and I was just about to say, these are the guys always fighting for the top 10 positions here. I mean, Bouteloup, Termele, Lopez, Cattell, Evon, and even Filho again. I mean, it's just the same guys here battling for the top 10 positions, and the way to show how a two-stop can go wrong, can go into the opposite direction of 1, 2, 3. Moga Filho, he started in 17th position. He's been running around top 5 for the majority of the race, but after a second pit stop, he's dropped all the way to 13. So he's just seconds down drivers like Joni Termele and Jeremy Bouteloup, but that's 5 positions right there. So 5 seconds cost you 5 positions, easy math, two-stop gone wrong.
Two-stop gone running indeed, and Atsi Kirchhoff is actually 5 seconds behind Greg Cahutu. He's caught up a 10th from that last lap. But now we're going to go to a replay with Marius Gollenbeck.
So we're going to take a look at what exactly happened at the start. We've seen a start replay, but you just see again what happened to Martin Krönke at the start and how he couldn't avoid his teammate Hugo Lewis there. And once again, an absolutely devastating start crash, this time involving the My3AD drivers and the main championship contenders, Hugo Lewis and Martin Krönke. And we said it earlier with Ben already, Gregor is not only going to get 50 points today by the looks of it, he's also going to get his teammate Atze Kirchhoff right up there, and Atze is going to make up enough points to be right behind Martin Krönke in the championship, right behind Hugo Lewis in the championship, and he's able to escape Martin Krönke, and to make up 40 points without that much mistakes is going to be a difficult thing to do.
It's going to be very difficult. Atze Kirchhoff really is getting some crucial points there. We said before about whether Hutu maybe let Kirchhoff take those extra points, but also I don't think that's going to happen now. Gregor Hutu and Hugo Louis between them have run every single race so far in this iRacing World Grand Prix Championship. And it looks like that trend's going to continue today with Gregor Hutu taking victory, but Atze Kirchhoff, as you said, is making a really, really good game here. So Atze Kirchhoff in second place, got Max Lorca third, Stephen Michaels fourth, and Marty Patella in fifth place. And that's our current top five.
Yeah, and still the battles going on outside of the top 10. Simon Kittel getting slipstream from the Ford Jura car of Daniel Lopez here. And Kittel, also one of the drivers, not really that long in the series. He's been working himself across the ranks of the Pro Series, gaining his Drivers' World Championship license. And there are a couple of drivers which are relatively new, drivers who mainly come from the Live for Speed section, Timo Ivonen, Simon Kittel, Joni Termel, so a big shout out to all the Live for Speed fans watching the stream today, and as well as the drivers there. I know how brilliant the game was, and a couple of drivers absolutely showing their skills across a wide variety of games here. So Kittel in 11, Joni Termel in 8, and Timo Ivonen in 12.
Yeah, I've got 20 cars on the lead lap still, which is quite phenomenal. In fact, we're at 19 because Gregor Hutu has just lapped the car of Jarl Cardoso. But to have 20 cars, or 19 cars still on the lead lap at this stage of the race, just shows how close and big everybody is really, because that isn't sometimes it's by Gregor Hutu and Hugo Louis lap up to the 4th, 5th position where they're totally dominating. But the field is just so close at the moment, so it's making for interesting battles all around the field.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, we've had a troubleful start here, we've had a troubleful mid-pack of the race, and we're still following Simon Kittel, of course, around place 10, place 11. That's the main fight going on this track right now. Your race leader, Gregor Hutu, has just completed the 1 hour mark. He's already in lap 47, so we're thinking 1 hour 10 for this race. Teammate Atze Kirchhoff from Team Redline in second position, Max Delorco in third, Stephen Michaels in 4, Martin Kettle in 5, and in the first pro license driver, Jörn Jens, showing a brilliant race today. 6th position for him, only 19 seconds down the leader, and you have to think about that. The guys are going for over an hour already. Andre Böttcher in 7, Jeremy Bouteloup 8, and Joni Termel in 9. And until then, you've got 1 to 1.5 second gaps there at least, so relatively safe. And then we've got the battles going on between Daniel Lopez, Simon Kittel, as well as Timo Ivonen still lurking. And I wonder, we've been talking about Mogafilo, but at the moment it's not really looking like he's got the pace to catch up to that pack, because he's literally doing the same lap times than the guys ahead. But I wouldn't really count him out of contention as we've still got 9 more laps to go.
Yeah, Mogafilo is one of those drivers. We're talking about drivers in the Pro Series, and the Pro Series really is a fantastic proving ground for these World Championship drivers. We saw last year Ricky Walatalo as a Pro Series driver getting a pole position even, and it just shows the Pro Series really is grooming fantastic drivers for the future. They're really plying their trade, and really it is a fantastic way to get into the championship. So if any of you have got A licenses and think you can do as well as Jörn Jens and Ricky Walatalo and people like that, work hard at your iRacing Class A, and you never know, you could be racing with these guys, or at least trying to get through the Pro Series.
And you just see how good the racing is. I mean, you can't really talk about bad racing after you've seen this right now. The good thing is, however, if you compare it to the real life, for GP2 versus GP1, well, GP2 kind of is the jumping board towards the F1 series, the breeding pool, if you will. The good thing is, if you're running the Class A series to get yourself a pro license, you're already running the F1 car. If you graduate, if you get the Pro license, you're running the Pro Series at the end of the year, you are still running the F1 car. You can take all your setups, you can take all your work you've done, your driving experience, you're still using the same car, and even if you make it through the top 25 of the Pro Series, you earn yourself a Drivers' World Championship Series license. You're still running the F1 car, and there's not going to be any change in it. You're still running the same car, the same setups, and you can use all your experience as the races are almost exactly as long. So pretty much everything works for you, and if you're in the Drivers' World Championship Series, you're good prepared, you're well prepared, and you can jump right into the racing. Drivers like Antoine Igelin in Sebring, drivers like Jörn Jens today, they continue to prove how good the Pro Series is as a jumping board towards the Drivers' World Championship.
Also, another thing, the level of competition in the Pro Series is very fierce. So some of you may know Richie Stanaway from Team Redline. He's actually this weekend racing for Dams in the Busch Super Cup at Monaco. Richie raced Formula Renault 3.5 last year where he had a bad injury with his back suffered at Spa. But Richie Stanaway is actually driving in the Porsche Super Cup this weekend at Monaco. So real life drivers race iRacing as well at a very high level.
Absolutely, and it just shows in the Pro Series, which Richie Stanaway of course won. He's been following that regularly, and he would have a shot at the Drivers' World Championship Series here. Unfortunately, imagine you get a shot at driving the Porsche Super Cup during the F1 event. You might want to drop out the Drivers' World Championship Series for that at least. However, if you've got nothing to do on Sunday evenings, Saturday afternoons, sorry, take a look at this. We're of course broadcasting the full season here. This is round 7 of 16, and we're gonna be back every 2 weeks, so a bi-weekly series. Sounds like okay for preparation. You've got plenty of time, and jump right in, have the good racing, and take a look at iRacing.com if you're interested in this. Of course, many other possibilities than the F1 car here. We've got Over Racing, of course, broadcasted by our friends over at GlacierTV, and there's so many possibilities here. Even if you don't want to be a Pro license, a Driver World Championship driver, you can still go for GT racing, you can still go for tin top racing, or even Indy cars. So there's pretty much everything for everyone.
Yeah, there is, and there's something here for Daniel Lopez. It's called trying to get night position off Yoni Tamala. He's very, very close. He made a move going through the hill section at turn 8, and now he's right behind Yoni Tamala. So this is a battle at the bottom end of the top 10, and also Mo Garfido slowly trying to catch up to that group in front of him, which is Timo Evenen and Simon McIntyre, and then these two battling in front. You were saying earlier, Marius, about the cars. So coming up, we've got some great cars coming in the future as well. We've got the DW12 Indy car, and also the fans of the British Touring Car Championship. You've got the Honda Civic N GTC and the BMW. So something for everybody. But as we said before, Daniel Lopez really on the attack here on Yoni Tamala as he goes round the outside. Now this is a move which we said you cannot do unless you get the get some help from the guy on the inside, and it's not happening here. But this is the advantage of going around the outside. You have the inside for this corner here, and it's Daniel Lopez is fighting fiercely with Yoni Tamala. He doesn't want to give it, and Tamala can't quite keep it up because Daniel Lopez makes a fantastic move, blocks him off on the inside. It's a very fair move, and Daniel Lopez is now up to 9th position.
Yeah, absolutely great job by Lopez there, and it's just shown again, you cannot really overtake him across the around the outside, but you can position yourself in a great spot for the left turn then. And even though Yoni Tamala tried to defend, he went in a little bit too hot and just missed the turn entry, and that just helped Daniel Lopez to get ahead of him on the exit of the turn and to get the 9th position, of course. And now Tamala needs to fear for dropping out of the top 10 here, as Simon Cattell is also right behind him, trying to gain a position. And as long as these drivers as long as they keep on fighting, Moga Filo will keep gaining on them. Right now he is gaining 3/10 per second, and we are in lap 52. Sorry, so 5 laps left here, and it's not really that much time for him because he still needs to gain a couple of positions.
We saw Andrew Slocum earlier involved in the battle, but unfortunately he's had a problem with the car, so Andrew Slocum has had technical difficulties now to pull out the race, which is really unfortunate for him because he was running in the top 20, and as we said before, that top 25 is all important. We're talking about cars coming to iRacing. We've also got the RUF, so that might be something that Richie Stanaway would be quite interested in. We've also got new tracks on the horizon. We've got Kansas for the oval scene, and also I'm looking forward to Montreal coming up. I think that'd be a great track for these cars to go around as well.
So, we've still got the battles going on. It's not really decided who's going to take the last spots in the top 10. Yoni Termele currently the bubble boy, if you will, on the 10th position here. Simon Cattell right behind him, Teemu Ivonen right behind him, as well as Moga Filo not really that far away. So a big question mark on the 10th position here as Simon Cattell is getting closer and closer, and a big question mark as well on the tires of Yoni Termele. He's just seemed to degrade more and more. He's starting to do little mistakes as Simon Cattell is starting to get closer and closer, might get the shot into turn 1, not trying that, just trying to brake as late as he can, getting a good exit, and he's definitely got the run up the hill right now.
And all this is backing them into Mogar Filo as well, but Yoni Termele is certainly struggling at this point in the race, and Simon Cattell and Teemu Ivonen, the teammates, will be hoping they can both get through. And this is going to be quite tight going through the corners. Around the outside goes Simon Cattell, and this is fantastic stuff here from Cattell and Ivonen. They're both going to try and make it round the outside. Cattell is going to have that move, as we said before, to go into turn number 6 at the chute, but he had a bit of on the grass, so he had to pull out of it. So Yoni Termele survives for another couple of corners at least.
Yeah, and the only good thing here is that his teammate Teemu Ivonen is right behind him, so he's kind of holding him back before Moga Filo comes across, and they can't really wait that much longer because I believe that Moga's trying to get past there. But we've also got battles on the front row of the front rows of the race here. Steve Michaels, your 4th position driver here, is being chased down by the 4-racer driver Martti Pietile. His teammate Max Del Orco is already occupying 3rd position, but Pietile is gaining more and more, and he will have the slipstream this time by again. And we've seen so much different situations here, and they almost every time they end up in the same way. Driver trying to go around the outside, either getting the cut on the left for the next turn or trying to stick back, and it's going for exactly the same situation here.
Yeah, Martin Pietile can't quite get past Stephen Michaels, but behind them we've got that battle for 10th place coming up, and Simon Cattell's got the run on Yoni Termele again, who's right behind the rear wing. They won't be long before he puts up the outside. There he goes, straight out to the outside goes Simon Cattell. He's going to try and make this move. He's going to try and set up a move, I think, in turn 6, but Yoni Termele has defended well, but this time Simon Cattell's done very... Oh, there's a bit of contact.
Ooh, and Termele's off!
And he's into the wall, Yoni Termele into the wall, and that is very unfortunate. It was a very good battle there. Simon Cattell just ran out of room there, clipped him, Yoni Termele, and Yoni Termele's lost some places there. It's very unfortunate there, Marius.
Yeah, that's so easy to happen in Formula 1 cars. Just clip the rear, and he's trying to get as close as he can, of course, for the exit of the turn. And he clips the rear, gets understeer, front wing damage, and he's going straight into the wall, dropping all the way down into 13th position. And he needs to fear Matthias Egger and Blake Townend in 15 and 14 right behind him, as his car is severely damaged, and he's just trying to bring it home right now as we're going to start lap 55.
Yeah, we are going to start lap 55, and also further up the field we've got that battle between Stephen Michaels and Martin Pietile again. Stephen Michaels is now in 4th position, Pietile in 5th. They're going to try and swap positions again, but it's not going to happen on this part of the lap again because Michaels is defending well, but see what's going back further. But the battle between Simon Cattell and Teemu Ivonen now has Mogar Filo right on the back of it, so Mogar Filo is sensing a top 10 finish here maybe.
Yeah, and there's pretty much only one chance for all the drivers trying to make up positions here, and we've got 1 lap to go. Reigning champion Gregor Hutu from Team Redline is looking for another victory here. Starting lap number 56, 1 hour 13 minutes across the line. Atsikirkov is teammate in 2nd. Max Del Orco after a great show in 3rd position. Great pit stop strategy, and he's been able to drive away from Stephen Michaels. I'm kind of lacking words here because there's still so much battles going on. Martti Pietile on Stephen Michaels, Simon Cattell, Teemu Ivonen, and Mogar Filo is finally caught up to that battle. So the top 10 are not yet decided, and the 4th position is still not decided. And we're going to take a look if Martti Pietile gets the chance this time by, but no, he's looking to be too far away for slipstream.
Bit far away for the slipstream, but the story of the race really has been that first corner. That really did set the tone for the race. We lost Hugo Louis, we lost Martin Kroenke. Actually, Kirchhoff had a good chance of winning this race as well, but he had a problem in the pit stop. But we're looking now at Mogar Filo, who's in 12th position. He's got Teemu Ivonen and Simon Cattell in front of him. And this might be one of his last opportunities to make something stick, but he's not quite close enough, so I think they're going to hold position now.
To the race leader, you said it, last lap, and in fact last turn here. Gregor Hutu takes the victory at the Watkins Glen Grand Prix here near New York, 56 laps, and he's taken it in front of his teammate Atze Kirchhoff, the #1 car and the #5 car. A brilliant race for the Team Redline drivers, benefiting from the crash between Hugo Lewis and Martin Krönke in the first turn already. Pretty much this all set after the start of the race. Max Del Orco takes home an absolutely brilliant third position. The 4-racer driver with a brilliant pit stop strategy ahead of Steven Michaels and his teammate Marty Pietele. And in 6th comes Jörn Jens, the Pro Series driver, making his second showing in the championship. An absolutely stunning result ahead of his teammate Andre Böttcher.
And then the battle for, we have Devin Boutic finishing 8th, Daniel Lopez 9th. That battle between the INX drivers and Mogar Figo stayed as it was. So Simon Cattell 10th, teammate even 11th, and Mogar Figo 12th. 13th is Matthias Aeger, 14th for Blake Townend of the Radicals, with his teammate Paul Ilbink 15th. 16th place is Yoni Tamala, so he definitely had damage from that incident. It's dropped him down to 16th, but he will still score some points for that. 17th is Pierre Abusu. 18th is Udain Narumi, and that is our 18th and final car to finish on the lead lap, Marius.
And wow, I mean, we've been talking about the driver of the race before the race, and we've been thinking about who's going to have a shot at winning. And after the race, it's always so different. I mean, I wouldn't have thought at any point of the start of the race that Max Del Orco has any shot of getting in the top 10. I mean, he started in 16th. Yes, we know he's a quick driver. Yes, we know he's got a good shot at strategies. But this time, he's absolutely overdone it. I mean, brilliant show by Max Del Orco, staying out until lap 38 here until he makes his pit stop, leapfrogging Steven Michaels and staying ahead of him for the brief part of the last stint, 16 seconds down the leaders, 3rd position for him. And before anyone asks me, Max Del Orco, my driver of the race.
I'm going to agree with you there as well, Marius. Max Del Orco, week on week, is impressing us even more. I thought after his performance at Phillip Island and Sebring that he does well, but really cannot believe that Max Del Orco, he started this race way down the field. He's in 16th position to finish in 3rd place. He stretched that fuel out very, very long as well. It was his strategy which made that really. He had clear air, lapping a second a lap quicker than those in front of him. So Max Del Orco, a well-deserved 3rd position there, and that could be one of the tactical moves of the season so far. But also Gregor Hutu, it's a fantastic drive from him again. No mistakes, did what he had to do. He benefited very much so on that first lap with Hugo Louis and Martin Kroenke going up, but it's a 5th win of the season for Gregor Hutu. So that's 5 wins out of 7, and Hutu is going to have a very big gap on the championship now as they go into the next round.
Of course, we're getting you the updated championship standings in just a couple of minutes, and I believe that's safe to say. Gregor Hutu extending his championship gap. He's going to get another 50 points added, 325 for him, and that puts him 105 points ahead of Hugo Lewis. So the 2011 champion versus the 2012 and 2010 champion. It's going to be a blast for the brief part of the race and pretty much the whole race, but Hugo Lewis start crash out of the race, 50 points lost, 50% potential points lost. Even if he would have only lost 40 points, that's a big part towards the championship. And Atze Kirchhoff in 2nd takes home 40 points, so he jumps from 174 to 214. And even that is so good because he's just getting so far away from Martin Krönke and right on the tail of Hugo Lewis.
Yeah, Atze Kirchhoff is now just 6 points behind the leading MyThreeID driver Hugo Louis. So I think Hugo Louis is going to have to start concentrating more on defending from Atze Kirchhoff and attacking Gregor Hutu, because Gregor Hutu is building up quite a lead really. We're just about at the halfway point of the season, but Gregor Hutu has had a fantastic first few. In all 7 races he's been in the top 5, and Gregor Hutu really showing why he is the best known iRacer on the service. And over to Marius Geilenbeck for the interviews.
Yeah, and we're going to start here with, if it wouldn't have been for Max Del Orco, I can safely say that he would have been my driver of the race. Jörn Jens, 6th position here as a pro licensed driver. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's great. It's great that I had a chance to race here. It could have been a little bit better if I would have not have lost so much time with the 2 stoppers, but I'm still happy with the 6th place.
And you're pretty much hitting the nail on the head there. 2 stoppers versus 1 stop. You've been doing a 1 stop together with Andre, who we've also got in an interview later on. What's been exactly the thought behind doing that? I mean, many drivers think before the race, will I do a 2 stop, will I do a 1 stop? But there needs to be a question behind this. Why have you gone for a 1 stop here?
The calculations just stated that 1 stop would have been faster, so we went for it.
Okay, so can't really say anything wrong about that. You finished 27 seconds down the leader. Next track obviously is going to be way different than Watkins Glen. Virginia International Raceway, VIR, pretty much exactly the opposite. I'm pretty sure you're looking to race there as well, but what are your expectations?
I don't think I would qualify there, actually, to be honest.
So, a bit of a doubtful result here. However, 6th position today, great race, and hopefully seeing you again later in the season if spots get free for pro license drivers. And Dan has got another My3ID driver here with Andre Betcher.
Andre, a good race for you, finishing in the top 10. How was that race for you today?
Pretty good. Had no big moments or whatsoever, and could get a clean race together.
What strategy was it that you was on? What made you decide to go for that strategy in the end?
Well, as Jörn already said, yeah, we thought it would be faster to go with a 1 stop. Obviously, Gregor and Atta made 2 stop work pretty well, and yeah, I think it's always better to go with a 1 stop if you're not in the first row. So. There was no question for me to go with a 1 stopper.
Good point scoring for you as well. It should help you get in towards the top 25 and retain your pro license again for next season.
Yeah, definitely. I've been a bit unlucky the last races, and yeah, it's good to finally get a good result in. That's important as the field is really close this season. So. Yeah, I'm happy to finish in the top 10 today.
Next up, we see the series go to VIR. Is that a track which you feel you'll be strong at?
Don't know yet. I like the track in slower cars, especially GT cars, but yeah, it's a bit different with the F1 there. It's really a fast track with the car, and 1 mistake and the race is over. And yeah, so it's yeah, going to be interesting.
Okay, thank you for your time and well done on your result today.
Thank you.
That was 7th place Andre Bocher. I believe Marius Gollenbeck has got our 2nd place driver, Atsi Kirchhoff.
That's right, thanks Dan. And Atsi, 2nd position here today, right behind your teammate Gregor Hutu. But first of all, take us through the start. You've had Martin Krinkel right on your, Hugo Lewis right on your inside, and then he's just gone sideways and spun across pretty much your rear, almost hitting you. What exactly went through your head at that point?
Hello everybody. Well, I didn't know what happened really, so I just had a good launch, a normal launch, and I couldn't see Hugo on the right, so I had no clue where he was. So I took all the room on the outside, and to make sure I didn't hit him, because that would be a shame. But yeah, I had to wait until the end of the race to see what actually happened, and Hugo, yeah, he lost his rear, and I guess, yeah, well, he certainly hit me because I was almost spinning too, losing a lot of positions. But yeah, bad luck for Hugo. He doesn't deserve this, and he's a really great driver. And I believe Martin had bad luck colliding into the whole accident too, which is extremely yeah, bad for the competition, of course, because those are our 2 main competitors, and we want to beat them on track and not having them not finishing the race.
That's definitely a good thought about that. We've just seen it in the replay what exactly has happened in the first turn. From then on, pretty much smooth sailing together with Gregor. Have you had any thoughts in your team speak maybe about who's going to take this win, or were you guys running different strategies and maybe thinking about who's going to take this one?
Well, Gregor is such a good sportsman, and he knew I was a bit lighter, or I knew he was a bit more heavy. And after the start, I had bad luck, of course, losing 3 positions. and well, falling back to third. And well, I was able to pass Marty quickly, who gave perfect space too. So thank you for that. And was closing up to Gregor, who was more heavy, so a bit slower in the stint. So I was able to have a run on Gregor, and well, he just went off throttle because he didn't want to take any risk, and I guess he wanted to stick into my slipstream because yeah, the slipstream was really strong on this track. So until the first pit stop, I just had to push as hard as I can, and I was able to get Gregor out of my slipstream, and had I believe a 3.5 second lead, but he was 3 laps heavier than me. So we came out of the pits, or he came out of the pits right next to me. So that was a tricky moment, and I knew that my tires were up to temperature, so my straight line speed was a bit better. And luckily I had the left side, and I could pass Gregor, who again gave plenty of room. So thanks for that again. And from there, I really was lucky because Andre was able to have a run on Gregor too. So he was right in between Gregor and me, which gave me the opportunity to create a gap to Gregor. I believe it was 5 seconds at a certain point near the end of the second stint. But then I hit heavy traffic, and that was horrible. I just lost so much time there, which was completely stressing me out. And I think the gap went back to 3 seconds at that point when I went into the pit. And well, I was stressed, and oh man, I made such a stupid mistake by spinning into the pits. And
yeah, we saw that, and that's where I want to ditch in. I mean, you've basically got the same situation on the start. You're releasing the clutch, and you're just trying to get away as good as you can. And we've seen the start crash on Sebring. Do you think this can happen to all of you guys on the front on the start as well?
Yeah, definitely. And you really need to be careful of how fast you release that clutch. And because I was stressed out, because I wasn't sure about my gap with Gregor, I just was too hasty, and I released it too quickly, and I couldn't believe my eyes what happened there. And I lost 7 seconds there. So basically that was the race win that I threw away in that pit stop.
Still, second position, a great result, getting you 40 points towards the championship, putting you right behind Hugo Lewis, 214 points for you, 220 for Hugo Lewis, and of course getting you a bit of breathing space to the rear, because Martin Krunk, of course, scoring no points at all today. And I think this puts you a bit clearer towards the championship situation, so you're no longer looking to fight against Martin, but rather looking for the second spot in the championship.
Yeah, definitely. The whole season I haven't been the most lucky guy, and I haven't had the best preparation for every race. A lot of things came up in my life and that distracted me a bit from sim racing. These 2 weeks I just got back to sim racing, got my focus back, and I practiced quite a bit for this race because I knew this is an important moment. I couldn't lose third position because that would be a shame. And once I'm in fourth, it will only be fighting with Martin instead of looking upwards to Hugo and Gregor, which is what I want, of course. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm having a bit of breathing space, and hopefully I can relax a bit more and prevent those mistakes like today.
Same question for you as well as the other guys. Next race, VIR, one of the most difficult races or tracks in the whole season. You've been having a good race in the 2012 season, at least your team had. And what are your expectations for this race in 2 weeks?
I have no idea. I really don't know how the current car is responding to a track like VIR, but I think it will be difficult. Especially, it's not the most attractive track to test on. So we'll just have to do our best, like every race, and find a good setup, which gives us a proper pace in race without having too much risky twitches on it.
Well, thanks a lot. That has been Atze Kirchhoff, second place today on Watkins Glen, moving himself up close towards Hugo Lewis, still remaining in the third position, of course, in the championship. And now it's on to the fifth position finisher here today, Marty Pieterle together with Dan Blake.
Marty, a fifth place finish for you. That must have been a better result than you may have been expecting today.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I'm quite surprised I'm here, 7th on the grid.
and P2 after the first corner, I was just quite astonished of what happened there. It took me a few laps to get my rhythm back, and well, it was a good race. I'm really happy about this.
You had a particularly strong first stint. You were about 10 seconds behind Gregor and Atsi at that point. What in that first stint made you so quick?
No idea. I just got the flow into the driving quite nicely there after maybe 5 laps or so. And then after the pits, I was behind Jeremy Boudeloop. I was really happy at that point because I could stay in his draft and do good lap times. But that wasn't just enough for P4 or P3 today.
Towards the end of the race, you also had a good battle with Stephen Michaels, for finishing 5th in the end. What were the highlights of your race?
Well, I guess the last 2 laps were the highlight of my race. I was in quite a lucky position so that I could just basically hot lap throughout the whole race with clear track in front of me. So the last 2 laps were were indeed the most interesting parts. Shamefully, I made a mistake on the second to last lap, and Steven was able to get a short, small gap there going to the last lap, and I didn't have a chance to fight him at that point.
Next race sees the series travel to VIR. How do you think your chances will be at that track?
It's pretty much like going to a casino. You never know.
You never know. I think that's a good sentence to finish on, because I think the VIR track is one of the most casino-like, like Marty said, in the schedule. However, Dan, I think we've seen a very interesting race today. Misfortune for the My3AD team in the turn 1, but a great result for Team Redline once again, taking a good portion together, 90 points, the maximum you can get for position 1 and 2 towards the championship, so a great result for those 2 guys. We will be back together with Will Vincent in 2 weeks from VIR. Of course, Will is in Indianapolis today, so he is excused. And we're, of course, bringing you the Polar GT on Saturday as well. So on Thursday, we've got the STC Blue Cup, and on Saturday, the Polar GT. 2 things you may not miss, and a couple of drivers who have been guests today will, of course, attend in the Polar GT, one of the most challenging GT race series in iRacing. 2 weeks until we come back from VIR. Will Vincent, together with Joni Backman, Dan Blake, Ben Rothberg, and me, Marius Golombek, say goodbye and see you in 2 weeks.